innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit of students and faculty members. Through workshop, hackathon, incubation program, and expert-led session, IDC always empowers the growth of the next generation changemakers in this evolving global landscape. We are truly grateful to have the best resource persons and innovators joining us tonight as we explore the dynamic landscape of innovation. May I take this opportunity to invite our beloved principal, Dr. Ajit Prabhuvi, who has been instrumental in shaping the direction of our college and fostering a culture of research, innovation, and collaboration.
Yeah, most respected CEO of Kerala Startup Mission, Mr. Anoop Ambika, today's invited speaker, Dr. Arun Surendran, all beloved and distinguished faculty, colleague faculty, other participants, good evening to you and welcome you to this FDP program. As all of you know, the importance of entrepreneurship development, especially in this emerging scenario in the 21st century. Government of India as well as Government of Kerala are striving hard to push entrepreneurship because of its multiplier benefits and attractions. Today we are starting an FDP program, 5-day long FDP program on innovation and entrepreneurship development. Of course, when Dr. Vipin Gopan, who is the Dean of Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development at the St. Thomas College of Engineering and Technology, Chengannur, approached me with an idea, immediately I welcomed it. I told him to go ahead, and we were discussing whom should be invited. And the first speaker identifies, that goes without saying, the stalwart Dr. Arun Surendran, followed by other distinguished speakers. And then came the question, who will inaugurate it? There was no hesitation at all from both of us to respond immediately that it should be CEO of Kerala Startup Mission, Mr. Anoop Ambika. And I immediately called him, and he was so kind enough to agree over a telephone call. Even at that time, he was extremely busy. I know he was talking so feebly, saying that I am in a meeting, but I then told him, no, this is the thing I am calling you on 7th. Please block that date. Other things I will convey you later. So that is the kind of, kind approach that he is showing towards us. Of course, he is my good friend, and he was associating with KSCST for quite long time, which is my previous organization. And just for the sake of others who are all participants, I will just have a quick introduction about our chief guest who is inaugurating this, Mr. Anoop Ambika. He is the CEO of Kerala Startup Mission. And needless to say, after he took over as CEO, Kerala Startup Mission has got a boost and it has gone to a different level because of his visionary leadership. Having close association with him, I know how long he's thinking and how is his far-sighted approach in every aspects. And Kerala Startup Mission is one of the best startup missions in the Kerala in India. That is only because of his visionary leadership, his commitment towards startup and entrepreneurship activities, and so on. So he is leading so many developmental activities in Startup Mission. So he has a master's degree in biomathematics, bioinformatics, and computational biology from University of Kerala. And I understand that he is amidst all his busy schedule, he is pursuing his PhD work also. And I am sure he will complete it within short time. Mr. Anoop has also an MBA in entrepreneurship from Babson FW Olin Graduate School of Business. And he has a BTech in computer science from the University of Kerala. And he took his ISc from St. Thomas Residential School in Trivandrum. And his biodata runs pages and pages. And moreover, rather than introducing him, I feel better you understand and feel about him from his words of wisdom. That would be the best introduction to Mr. Anoop Ambika. So one thing is for sure, he is going to create history in Kerala, especially in startup and entrepreneurship activities. With one more small thing, let me complete it. Recently, he has mooted an excellent idea with the Kerala State Science and Technology Council to start incubation centers in the 8 R&D centers attached with the council, and the council is pursuing it very strongly and effectively. That is what I understand. So all these things shows entrepreneurship is his passion. He always thinks in that line, and that is why I say he can create history in Kerala. Sir, we are very fortunate to have you with us, and I am sure you are the best person to inaugurate this FDP program. We could not find and we cannot find a better person than you to inaugurate this FDP program. So with a lot of affection, honor, and respect, on behalf of St. Thomas College of Engineering and Technology, Chengannur, and on behalf of all the participants here, welcome you, sir, to this FDP program. Next is my best friend, Dr. Arun Surendran. Our association crosses decades, always best friend. Whenever I have any doubt regarding new technology development or entrepreneurship, he is the first person to whom I approach and contact, and he gives immediate solution, a quick decision maker, and immediate solution he proposes. And that will be very practical and fruitful also. And I know we together had designed a lot of programs for KSCST also. Yet another visionary leader, a distinguished personality. Sir, with a lot of respect, affection, love, and everything, welcome you to this FDP program. Also, I definitely welcome our Dr. Vipin Govan, because this whole program is his brainchild. And I know he is an outstanding person with extraordinary competencies and capabilities. He always approaches me with one or the other innovative programs almost every day like. And I'm happy that our management is also happy to accept it, include it, and implement it. So we are marching ahead with a lot of innovative programs at our college. And on behalf of St. Thomas College, welcome you, Dr. Vipin Gopan, to this program. I also welcome all the participants from across the country. I understand that even from Delhi, there are participants. And we had a very overwhelming response for this. The registration crossed 100, and now I think 113 are attending this program. So with a lot of happiness, immense pleasure, I once again welcome all of you, and over to Ms. Abida, Professor Abida.
Thank you, sir. Yes, now we have Mr. Anoop Ambika, CEO of Kerala Startup Mission, for the inauguration of this 5-day FDP session. Sir is a serial entrepreneur and a technology enthusiast. Sir has done his BTech in CSE from TKM College of Engineering and has worked with several MNCs and many, many more. We are truly grateful to have you here, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Abida, and thank you, Dr. Ajit Prabhu, for all the good words that you have showered upon me. And thank you, everyone, for being here today. I think it's very important that we do more and more of these faculty development workshops, because as we speak, the state of Kerala is going through a higher education reforms, as you all know. We really want to actually bring some disruptions into the way knowledge is being delivered to our students, rather than the exam oriented approach of evaluation. People like Dr. Arun Surendran has always been advocating that we should be evaluating the skills that are generated as part of the education that we gather from our universities. So learning by doing is something that we are advocating to the students. And when we do that, most of the times what I have noticed, at least in my university days, is that a series of silly questions from the students are usually not entertained by the teachers, right? And I keep asking a group of faculties that I get to interact with is that why are you getting irritated? Why do you usually get irritated with questions that are coming from your students? There are a couple of reasons that came out of the teachers itself. This came from the teachers itself. One of the answers was that, oh, you know what, I'm egoistic. I don't want to be picked on by my students when I'm in the class. In the class, I'm in control. And I don't like people actually asking too many questions because it hurts my ego. The second thing is there is also this ego which do not let you say that I don't know, let me go back, check, and come back to you tomorrow with a right answer, right? A teacher is often ashamed of saying that, you know, I don't have a clear answer for you, but I go back and learn and come back and teach you. So I think the classrooms should transform in such a way that questions and inquisitiveness needs to be entertained. And for questions and inquisitiveness to be entertained, teachers need to be updated with all the new advances that are happening in technology, in science, in the world. And faculty development program hence becomes imperative for the implementation of these new educational reforms. So it is very relevant what you're doing, St. Thomas College, and congratulations to everybody who conceptualized this program. So what is the other thing when it comes to? I have this selfish motive from a startup mission perspective that more and more enterprises should come out of our educational institutions, right? And one of the problems that has often been pointed out as part of the student entrepreneurship program is that these programs or the projects that come for our evaluation are very early stage or very immature. And students leave after, you know, their 4-year degree or 3-year degree, and they move on. So these projects kind of get stranded, and, you know, nobody is there to take it forward. But I recently visited MA College of Engineering, Kodamangalam, and I saw a very, very, very interesting model wherein they are doing incremental innovation with the help of their faculty members. So one of the biggest advantages, I went to TKM to do my engineering, and I was telling one of the senior bureaucrats in the state of Kerala that, you know what, I think there is more bonding between the TKM people as opposed to the College of Engineering Trivandrum people. And that it's something that I really felt. And he immediately responded. He has worked as a higher education secretary, and he immediately responded that is because the faculty stays in the college for a long period of time. And the bond that you have with your faculty, that is, if I go back to my college right now, the person who used to be my advisor is now the dean of research, right? So I immediately go and call upon teacher, and there is a relationship that has been established. Now, what is the advantage of that? That relationship can be used for incremental innovation within the colleges. In a college, what happens is, I have developed a drone, let's say, for administering pesticides for large farm fields. The drone is not going to happen in 1 year or 2 years or sometimes 3 years, right? If you're working on a very heavy technology, wherein you're working on multiple aspects, let's say material, weight, flight patterns, fuel efficiency, etc., etc. So there are hundreds and thousands of parameters that you might actually have to consider in a drone to make it market ready. And that is not going to happen in a college campus in a year or in a couple of years. So continuous innovation or incremental innovation is a important aspect wherein colleges or universities will be able to come up with enterprise products or ready to use products or world class products. And that incremental innovation can often be driven only through clubs, companies that are driven by the faculty. And for that, the faculty must now be transformed to think like an innovator, to think like a businessman, right? And that is what is happening right now with these FDP programs. You are actually changing the mindset of the academician to also think like a new generation entrepreneur or an innovator. And that is the only way by which I think people will be able to drive incremental innovation and further get to a product, a globally usable quality product that is coming out of the university. So I will actually end this speech with, I know that everybody is eagerly waiting to listen to Dr. Arun Surendran. Is usually very, very good snippets of information that come from him. So Dr. Ajit Prabhu is right that he's probably the best person to start the sessions with. And I see that you have got a series of very good people lined up in the next few days who will be talking to you. But I will end my note or this address with just one example that I had in the recent past. I've told this in multiple venues or multiple stages, so some of you might have already heard about it. But it's a story worth telling. So one of these days, a major from the Indian Army actually walks into my office and says that I've got an idea. And the chief of army has called for a innovation challenge, and I'm pretty certain that if I present this idea, I will win, and then I have an actual chance of commercializing this idea into a product which will be used by the Indian Army. So I asked him, like, what is the problem? And he said that the large amount of lives are lost while searching for landmines. And you must have seen how it is being done by a man with a stick kind of a thing. He will walk around and scan for the mines. And the large amount of casualties happen during this process. So he wanted to have a magnetometer attached to a drone, and he wanted to actually fly that drone in a war zone and early detect some of predict the probability of a landmine being there, so that people are a little aware of what they are getting into. You have an early warning symbol, which will significantly reduce casualties. But his challenge was this. He wanted to actually build something like that in the next 48 hours, because that is the only time that he had left. And I think he tried with multiple places before, but he was not able to build a prototype for this competition. So I immediately remembered, I don't know, somehow remembered Dr. Alex from Digital University. I called him up. I said, Alex, this is the problem. Do you think you will be able to attempt this problem? We will not, I did not believe it when actually one day later, I think 36 hours later, Alex sends me a video of a drone being tested in Pangod with the same use case and working reasonably well and ready to be prototyped. So one professor and a series of students around him who was actually doing research in some of these areas, they actually quickly pivoted one of the solutions that they had to adopt this particular use case. And within 36 hours, they were able to bring up this particular prototype, which eventually went and won the prize, and the Indian Army is now on a move to actually commercialize it. So such is the power of pockets of expertise that can be created within colleges, because universities are brimming with energy, or colleges are brimming with youth energy. All you really need is one faculty or a group of faculties who will be able to guide, mentor, and channel this energy in the right fashion. And you will see how that is being done from the talks of Preeti, from the talks of Ajay, from the talks of Dr. Arun Surendran. So you will hear all about it, about how do you channelize this immense amount of energy that is locked up in the university to actually attempt some of the world-class problems and create world-class products. So I wish this program all the very best. I will also urge you to think about creating IP. Dr. Ajit Prabhu is here. He, one of his very serious subjects that he has been pursuing is intellectual property. So while you are on this pursuit, please think about creating IPs, and IP will eventually create value in terms of the economic outcomes. So I wish this program all the very best. I wish all the best for all the participants, and I formally declare this program as inaugurated. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Dr. Arun Surendran, who will be sharing his incredible insights on the intersection of engineering, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Dr. Arun Surendran is the strategic director and principal of Trinity College of Engineering, Trivandrum. Sir has completed his master's and PhD in aerospace from Texas University and BTech from IIT Bombay. Dr. Arun is the Honorary Fellow for Robotics with Kerala Startup Mission. Sir is also a guest faculty at Kerala Civil Service Academy and Indian Institute of Space, Science and Technology. Truly, we are having the best resource person with us, and so we are truly fortunate to have you with us tonight. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for the lovely, elaborate introduction. Thank you so much, Anoop, for inaugurating this very important faculty development program. And congratulations and thanks to Dr. Vipin Gopan and Dr. Ajit Prabhu for organizing this. I hope I am audible. There are no cameras on, so this is feedbackless.
Yes. Very much audible. Very much audible. Yes.
Okay. So it's a feedbackless conversation. So I can only look at my own beautiful face as I go along talking to you. Let me channelize a couple of things that Anoop mentioned already, which is one of them is he mentioned about learning by doing. I think it's time for us to start thinking very seriously about teaching by doing, at least in engineering. At least in the branches of engineering where it is sufficiently cost effective to actually do things, right? And when it comes to FDPs also, we need to provide uh, some kind of assignments to the faculty so that they work through the, it's a workshop in Malayalam is Shilpashala, where actually at the end of it, there should be a Shilpam, something that comes out. So during COVID time, Vipin would remember we had started the Trinity team of entrepreneurs and mentors, which was a 5-day program, full day program, where we would like to get the business canvas at least done by the end of it. Because otherwise, one of the very disturbing things that I recently came to know is we are teaching entrepreneurship in schools, but we are teaching it based on an exam-based system again. So we are going to judge our youngsters based on how good they know the answers to a few standard questions about entrepreneurship. And that's never going to create good entrepreneurs. So I would like to pose, there are 120 of us here. I want to start by posing a question. Please feel free to use the chat window so that I know you're not doing anything else, at least listening. Let me bring 2 words to your attention. And as soon as you hear these words, please type into the chat window whether the connotation in your mind, your emotional resonance with this word is positive or negative. And please be absolutely honest. Okay. So the first word is business. When you hear the term business, is your mind okay? Very nice, very honest, Sri Lakshmi, Dr. Vinay. So please be very honest. What is it that comes to your mind, right? No. Just say if it is positive or negative, not the other words. So we want to see that people have very strong emotional resonance with this word, right? Either they could, for some people it is positive, for some people it is negative. So there is a clear emotional resonance. And that's all what I wanted to say. Both positive and negative is also true. Now, the second word, profit, labham, labh. What's the mindset when you hear the word profit? Okay. So I think, unlike the word business, when you hear profit, majority of the people feel very positively towards it. It's a good thing because we came from a long mindset where taking profit was considered to be exploitative, about all about destroying the environment or destroying the society, not being very pro society. Labha kodi, right? Greed was how this was looked at. Profit was looked at. I'm very glad that that seems to have changed. Now, the third word, and I'm assuming that majority of this faculty who are sitting here are engineering people. So my third word, for which please think about how it resonates in your mind, risk. When you hear the word risk, is it positive? Okay, Sheila is positive for Sheila. Very nice. Risk taking, Sahasika people are there. Saj also says it is positive. Murali Krishnan positive, but quite a few of you are also feeling it is negative, right? So whenever we talk about an enterprise, whenever we talk about entrepreneurship, these words are the most common things that come. Now, this is the second set of questions. Okay, like Anoopji mentioned, Kerala is booming. Kerala Startup Mission, is one step ahead of what Dr. Ajit Prabhu was saying. They're not only the best in India, they're the best in the world. They are top ranked when it comes to the world startup ecosystems. So when there is so much boom happening, when the economy is growing at a very fast rate nationally as well as in the state, when ease of doing business rank of Kerala has jumped so much, can you tell me very, very briefly, why is it that those of you who are here, and not Vipin Govind and not Anoopji, those of who you are here, why is it that you have not started an enterprise already? What are the top three reasons why you haven't done it yet? What are the top three reasons why you have not used this booming startup ecosystem that's available around you? What are the reasons? Top three that comes to your mind. If you have a business, well and good, you don't have to answer this. But otherwise, why are you not okay? Busy schedule. Okay, so no time. Time, confidence, money. Bharati, yes, Bharati is very familiar with the FDP ideas. Fear of failure, fantastic. Lack of confidence. And this being the first session, this is where we do the whole psychology thing of drawing things out, right? Lack of confidence, time, risk. Okay, Kirti, time, risk. It's good to see familiar names appear here. Lack of knowledge. As a faculty member, what knowledge? It definitely is not domain knowledge. I'm assuming it is the knowledge of how to do business, which is what such FTB programs are supposed to fix. So a risk factor, again, okay, fine. Risk and hazards, capital cost, lack of idea and innovation. And I'm glad that Anoop is sitting here. So he's also able to see most of the principal is very happy with his job. So he doesn't want to get into business, proper area. So these are the main reasons. And these are the same reasons that you will hear from the students as well, right? Prejudice judgment about the state. Okay, if you already know it's a prejudice, then I think we can change it, right? You already know that's not, I mean, what you think is not true. So go ahead and explore. The common things that have come up: lack of confidence. Why would somebody who has a master's degree and who has done very well academically lack confidence in getting into a new field? We are not asking you to do, I mean, nobody is saying get into a very risky business or something that you don't know. Now, there was capital cost, right? I usually hear these questions: time, money, expertise, and things like that. So, here, always, these are common things, right? This is very much like the answer that we get when we go for our Kalari based programs. We ask people, what are the basic necessities of life? And everybody gives us the thing that they learned in fourth standard. Everybody says food, clothing, shelter. Okay, because that's the answer we learned. Nobody talks about breathing. Nobody talks about breath, which is the most important thing. Similarly, why are you not in business? A standard answer: lack of expertise, lack of confidence, lack of money, lack of time. Right. So now, if you dig in a little deeper into, is there really, really any truth in these excuses that are being given? How busy is the schedule? Right. And I'm going to bring up a few facts which will show you the dangers of not getting into the entrepreneurial mindset. The topic is the entrepreneurial mindset and importance for academia. Okay. So in the last 20 years, do you know how many colleges were inaugurated or opened in India per day, including Saturdays and Sundays? Do you know how many colleges India opened every single day, 365 days of the year for the last 20 years? Any idea? What's the average number per day? Of course, for Diwali, some might open for, first of the month, New Year, more colleges may open, but on an average, the number is four and a half. Our country opened four and a half colleges every day, and still we are nowhere near serving the population in terms of higher education. Right now, with the advent of AI, with such a proliferation of colleges, the risk of remaining only as a faculty in a college, how does that compare with the risk of starting your own enterprise? Right, that's one risk about ignoring the change, the massive change that has been coming around. So when we have more, of course, the quality compromise is one thing, but the other thing is the economics itself, where availability of cheaper options are there, which will altogether affect the wages and the salaries and so on. So there is a risk in the status quo, which we need to understand when there is rapid changing. So, for example, Google today, the wonderful comedian who does the Ayo Shraddha videos, today she had brought out a video, and this was a paid ad for Google where she says there used to be only computer science. Now we have AI and all the cousin branches. So there is AI ML, there is AI data science, there is AI aloo paratha, AI palak paneer, and so on. So she was saying all these, what are you teaching? Because AI itself is changing so fast. That's the first thing. Second thing she said is, no, Google is offering free certification. So what happens to the places where we all started this? When there is a company, one of the four giants in the world in technology, starts offering something for free because they themselves need top of the line developers to come through, which they don't expect the colleges to produce. So the status quo has a risk. And the second thing is, you must all be familiar with how our previous generation and our own generation keeps talking about how our parents didn't do something, and if they had done something. For example, in my family, I keep hearing about how we had a big plot of land near medical college or near techno park, which was not valued at all at that time. So my grandfather simply gave it because who will go and stay in that forest? What will be the equivalent of that 20 years from now for all of us? Don't you think the next generation is going to ask you, there was this nation that was growing at 7.5%. There was this state that had improved so drastically its ease of doing business. And then what did you do? Did you make use of that opportunity? So whenever somebody talks about risk, and again, as engineers, we have a capacity to quantify the risk. We are not talking about risk as in I'm afraid to go in here, or I have an amorphous ignorance, which is what I call the risk. As highly educated people, which is roughly only 30% of the country, we are highly privileged, highly educated people. We have the responsibility to look at what is this risk we are talking about, and then tie it to the regret, not to what you will lose. Okay, let's say you want to start a business and which will be an investment of 1 lakh. So if you lose 1 lakh. So that is the risk. But if you don't start, and suppose that business has the capacity to grow into a multi-crore business, that regret should be brought into the equation. If you don't do this now, how are you going to judge yourself 20 years down the lane? Right? So measure risk in terms of that. Second thing is money. And please watch Anoopji's videos, dime a dozen, like Adit Professor was saying. He has popularized so much, actively campaigning for startups. Look at the videos on Facebook, on Instagram, where he talks about the enormous amount of grants. And if you don't like grants, think about loans. And if you don't like loans, there's always debt funding that happens. Think about money literally is a commodity now. If you have an idea, if you have the mindset to start your own enterprise, money is not at all a problem. So those excuses that we come up with, which is the standard high school response of why I'm not doing something, these are the reasons. At the end of this FDP, at least have your own self-analysis about why it is that I felt negative connotations about something. What is it I mean by risk? And usually this is something we inherited from our parents, stock market, very risky business, things like that. But other than that, have we ever quantified, thought about this? What is the risk that we are talking about? So please do this exercise yourself, if possible, tonight, about, okay, money. Then the second question that I keep asking in every faculty development, student development program, lack of capital. My first question is, how much do you need? Have you ever done a work on that? That do you need 1 lakh, 10 lakhs, 1 crore, 5 crores? We simply say there is lack of capital. How much capital do you want? Can you quantify for what you have in mind? How much money do you need? Can we get into those details, right? Because the trouble with our education system, which Anoopji was mentioning, about the lack of learning by doing, is that we don't do anything. We only theorize and talk about it. We prepare slides and mention this. We never sit and get down to the details about why something cannot be done or can be done, or how it can be done. How can a problem be solved? How can we launch our own business? So at the end of these 5 days, please make sure that you get into this. And the second thing about Kerala mindset, especially, and part of it in India too, how is it that we feel a few communities are very good in business? Why is it that we always say, oh, there is a Gujarati mindset of business? There is a Bengali mindset of intellectual attitude. Why does that come? Because of the ecosystem, right? It's not that they are born. That's the other thing. We are all big fans of Idea Star Singer, the littlest kid, because we are happy to think that somebody is inborn talent and therefore it is automatically going to be a success. And then we are not getting into these things because we have labeled all these things as talent or flair. I don't have a flair for business. Does business need any flair? Or is it a skill that can be acquired? Is it something that will come to us if we immerse ourselves in an atmosphere where this is promoted? And are our colleges or IEDCs providing this environment where students are trained in the art of business and the science of business, about how to go about achieving these things that they want to achieve? So the starting premise is the mindset is required, because otherwise you are in a huge risk because of the way Indian higher education system is going. The regulations are changing, and secondly, because technology itself is coming for you. The way ChatGPT is able to generate, Achut Shankar sir yesterday was giving a lecture about, artificial intelligence will not substitute a teacher. That's true. He should have qualified that statement. Artificial intelligence will not substitute a good teacher. But who is a good teacher? Somebody who is deeply involved in the field. And therefore, the teaching learning becomes sort of like what Howard Gardner says, it's either apprentice style learning or it is a museum style learning, where the best of the best skills are showcased by the teacher so that the students feel like emulating and imitating and go around. The standard what you see in the classroom, walking in and giving notes and lecturing and solving a problem in the question paper, ChatGPT does it in a much, much better way, in a much customized way. So, what will make us and keep us a good teacher? That's the risk part. So, can an enterprise mindset reduce our risk of losing our academic job? I think it can. Because when you bring in an entrepreneurial mindset to anything that you do, it makes a whole lot of difference. So, what is this entrepreneurial mindset? And all of us can come up with our own thoughts about that. My own thinking, ever since we've been mentioned this mindset, there are three things to be considered. One is an entrepreneurial mindset is always keen on maximizing value. It's about value creation, value, and quality. Okay, so you have a mindset in which you are always looking at how can I maximize the value and quality of whatever it is that I'm undertaking. The second, you are always thinking about maximizing the reach. How can this change lives of maximum amount of people in a better way, right? And the third, how can I achieve this at minimal cost, minimal effort, minimal monetary involvement? So these three aspects, any entrepreneur will be thinking about these three aspects. And I think every academician now should start thinking along the same way. When you are going to walk into your lecture every morning or every afternoon, this might be a subject that you have taken hundreds of times in hundreds of semesters. But if you can think, how can I maximize the value of this 1 hour I'm going to spend with these students? If you can come up with ways in which it can be done. Second, how can I maximize my reach? I mean, these days online lectures are there. This also is getting recorded. Can you start a YouTube channel where your expertise is being showcased? Can you do some Instagram bites in which it is showcased? Can you, because of the way you change your students, how many future generations will be affected? That's the maximizing the reach. See, we are one of the most privileged generations of teachers, because whatever we teach, including whatever I'm saying now, I'm completely aware of the fact that this is forever for everyone, because this recording can be kept for till probably technology ends or we fight a war in which everybody is lost. But that's the forever part. Any generation down the lane can look at it and make their own conclusions, draw lessons from it, and it can be viewed by anybody in the world. And nowadays the translation softwares are so good they need not even think about language. This will be so seamlessly translated into their own mother tongue, including with the expressions and voice and so on. That's one capability that we're achieving. So every teacher is now teaching for eternity. For there's no more boundary of time and space when we teach. So the maximum reach is possible. And minimal cost. What are the tools and technologies that we can do? What is the easiest way to do research? And so on. Now everybody is afraid of AI taking away jobs, including the teaching jobs. But the truth is, it won't be AI taking away, it'll be somebody who knows how to use the AI tools who will take it away. Forbes magazine had an article about how the future of AI is a girl called Hannah from Texas A&M, which is my university, where Forbes magazine gave her access to few decades of interviews. And then in 2 days, she did a comparison of what all the experts from different fields in different interviews had commonly talked about how the future will change in the next 10 years. This would have been the work of 10 different PhDs over 5 years, but it took her 2 days with the help of the tool. We know colleges that spend days planning the timetables without conflict. Have we tried using the AI tools to set up such a scheduling? My friend Shaju had come recently from US. He works for one of the corporations that makes very high-end cameras and electronics to support drones. So he was telling me prototyping has become so easy now. Because earlier, when a new device driver came or when a new chipset came, he has to go through the entire manual and then start thinking if this new piece of hardware can be integrated into the existing thing. It's needed because otherwise other companies will leave you far behind, other nations will leave you far behind. But now, because AI can read the manual, so he gives the manual to the AI to read it and then give him a graphical user interface which is seamlessly integrated. So the prototyping has gone into a few hours from a few months. How are us in the teaching profession going to use these things? This again, we will go back to this entrepreneurial mindset about it's maximizing value, minimizing cost, maximizing reach. Same thing when you take up a project. Why do we take up projects? Because I run an engineering college, usually it's because the principal said so, because NAC accreditation needs it, because NBA accreditation needs it, because some company is willing to give some money, and because I will look good or look very bad unless I do projects. Can we change that mindset into this is the way in which I will create value and I will deliver to my students the unforgettable lesson of how high quality work can be done? Can we change the way we approach instead of being the salaried mindset? Like, I mean, I keep repeating this from Nassim Nicholas Taleb that the three most addictive things in the world are heroin, carbohydrates, and monthly salary. If you get addicted to that monthly salary, then the levels to which you will go to satisfy the addiction, or a slightly heavier dose, or the fear of slightly lower dose, will keep you trapped because you will do only the bare minimum to make sure that you get this. And as a nation, we cannot progress. And the next generation has already understood it. I mean, they are okay with using the latest tools, finding the variety of careers they can get into, being their own boss. They don't want to be trapped in a setup where somebody else is dictating your time. The lack of time that was mentioned here is because somebody else has set up your schedule. Somebody else is somebody else is dumping duties on you. So can we have a shift in that? When Vipin was there in Texas A&M, in Trinity College, Jimmy sir before Vipin, when we tried the faculty entrepreneurship, because my idea was when in 2012 we thought, see, faculty are anyway going to be paid a salary, so they don't have to risk what their family is going to get. They will have access to all the labs and the computers and the internet and everything so that they can use it towards building their enterprise. And third and most important thing, they have access to this wonderful set of young brains, high energy that Anoopji was mentioning. And he was also telling me recently about how a team in Kerala, veteran, experienced software engineers, were stuck for a couple of months with a problem, which then two students in US ended up solving in 2 days. So that kind of mindset, we have access to it. Why are we not using it? So when we set this faculty entrepreneurship thing up at Trinity, Jimmy sir started building his enterprise. So we had to do the balancing act of reducing the teaching load so that he can, so he started becoming more and more master of his time. He said, okay, I can only do guide one project. I can take on the HOD duties, but only this much time because I'll have a client visit on that day. I'll have to shift my lecture. When you start mastering your own time, doing something which you really enjoy, this is the big catch. Your own time, your own expertise, something that you really enjoy. So that kind of freedom, which is what the youth are always talking about, getting the freedom, part of it is financial freedom, but the other half is being able to do what you really love to do. And it's very unfortunate if we haven't found something that we really love to do. So can we, as academicians, because we need to change so that the next generation can change, we need to understand that this is a skill. This is something that we can acquire, and we can only acquire it by doing. I meet tons of people who are startup coaches who have never started up anything. And this is why I have a lot of respect for Anoop and Vipin, because they have done this. I mean, they have been in the battlefield with the scars to show, where they have learned by doing. So, other than that, we can only keep showing so many slides about how this is wonderful, India is growing. So, and everybody should do this except me, because I have my own reasons about not doing this. So that has to change in the next 5 days. You have to seriously think about it. It can be a very, very micro enterprise, but have your own enterprise at least to start learning how this can go ahead, how you can inspire, because otherwise we'll just be, talking in the air, where when the real questions come, it will always be an issue about, okay, I don't know. I mean people who keep talking about how all the businesses will be successful if proper homework is done. That's not true. 90% of them will fail because there are so many factors at work. But we, as academicians, are in an environment where we can take that risk. MIT is just 1 square mile from which at least 800, 900 companies come out every year. And these are all spearheaded by faculty members. Few years ago, when engineer Sridharan sir had come to UST Global, Sajan Pillai had said this. He said, see, in US, the companies, the top of the line companies, are afraid of the professors. They are wondering, what is this professor doing in MIT? What is this professor doing in Yale? What are they doing in Texas and Texas A&M? Because the technology that these guys build, the professors build, with the help of their vibrant student team, will change the field, so that the companies might go bankrupt, their business might end. Whereas in Kerala and also rest of India as well, all the principals have come to ask, should we teach Java full stack? Should we teach Python next? So this is the mindset change. We have to understand the environment that we have been given is a blessing. The expertise that we have is something that we can take it and do something. It can be anything connected to, okay, the standard response, which again, Vipin knows, 2012, when I said in Trinity faculty, please start business, I said, no chit fund business, no catering business, which are two hugely successful business in Kerala that you can get into. But we wanted to do something that engineering faculty, based on their expertise, can do. And very, very successful models, very, very successful companies have come out. Very few of them did not manage to do well, but then, those lessons learned were very important as well. So how this mindset change can come about? Have you ever wondered how our mindsets have changed? How do we change? Because, a lot of you gave reasons about feeling positive, negative. What are the factors that you do? How can we now change the mindset? Can you go back and think about something in your life where you had made up your mind about something but then later changed it? And how did it happen? For example, you might have thought something is very bad, and then now you think, no, no, it's really good. How do we go about changing our mindset about something, or the way we behave? There are two factors, right? Yeah, pushing the limit, that again sounds like a lot of effort being put in, something willpower. I don't really like it, but I need to do. The easiest way to do it is to network with people who can then give you a helping hand, be together with you. We call it affinity groups in psychology. Usually, video game players and things like that, they have affinity groups. This is an affinity group. There are 100 people are here. And I'm sure it's very easy to make a WhatsApp group where you can push each other, you know, pushing the limits of each other, encouraging each other to write that business plan, encouraging each other to, finalize or fine tune your business canvas, encourage each other to go for that bank loan, encourage each other to apply to Startup Mission, get your Udyog Aadhaar number, and then register a company, name a company, design the logo for the company, think about it, and take help from everybody else. Because academia, most of the time, our pursuit is solitary, except that we have a bunch of students with us, which is a team. And team building activity is good, but we can support each other. And that's one way. And the second is to change our attitude from being the guru, which is like a know it all phenomena, to being a service provider. I have seen, and the first time I saw this was very, very hard hitting. Any business, any enterprise can only thrive if the customer is happy. First of all, it needs customers. And the customer can be government, customer can be a non-profit entity, a customer can be another business, customer can be an individual. But you need to have a customer. And if all of us start looking at our students as our customers, how will our mindset change? Because right now we are coming from the great Indian traditional system of they have come to us and we are going to make their lives better, which is the assumption that we are going to put things in them and which will automatically give them a better life. But suppose you just, and I saw this in Texas in a class where a student stood up and said, "Do you know the amount of fees I pay?" And he mentioned that amount in dollars. And then he said, "And this is what you are giving me in return," to the teacher on the face. There are companies, very successful companies called Pick a Prof website, which you can go and see. There's, I don't think Kerala still has an equivalent. Pick a Prof is where all these reviews are put, where the academician is looked at as a service provider, and the students have no restraint in saying what a lousy service provider he or she is, or what a great service provider he or she is. So if we consider our students as clients who have come and who are definitely paying, even if they have a scholarship or something, then what is the service that we are providing? Can we adopt such a mindset? There's a famous saying by Nitya Chaitanya Yati where he says, the moment the teacher feels that the student sitting in front of him is not his own or her own, he should just get out of the class. That's the ultimate customer mindset, right? Where you literally feel an ownership towards the person who has come to you for acquiring something. So can we have the mindset where we look at them not as somebody who needs to just pass the exam, or we provide them something spoon feeding so that our pass percentage is kept this percentage above and so on, but these are people who will be able to judge us for the service we provide, and therefore, and this is not as a fake service, I'm talking about proper enterprise building kind of attitude where we are going to provide to them the best service that we can provide, the best service in terms of teaching, in terms of research, in terms of training and skill development and so on, in terms of the administrative tasks also that we do. And in each of this, consider research also. You would certainly need an entrepreneurial mindset these days to run this project, right? From the point where you're asking for funding, a grant to do your research, to having the best team possible which can pull this research through, and then finally delivering the best product. It need not always be a journal paper, but journal papers these days are judged in terms of can they generate patterns, can there be an IP that's coming out of it, so that ultimately, like we said, reach maximum people, make difference to their world, and then do that at the minimal cost. So if we can bring about such a change, right, and make it part of the life, not in theory, not as things we repeat from one lecture to another, but actually do, right? What is engineering is doing? I don't think there is any other definition, including if it is a mathematical modeling, we have to do something. It's creation. So we have this opportunity to create something like an artist and create as a team, coming together, helping each other, find out the best of the best that we can do. And that would be an ideal way. So when Anoopji was talking about incremental innovation, look at what LBS College for Women did in Trivandrum. They launched that satellites over so many batches, right? They started in 2018. People graduated in 2022, then 23, 24. So many batches of girls were there. So Dr. Lizzie Abraham led this project, and it's true. Once you need to have that faculty, like he mentioned about TKM, a permanence of the faculty is very much important, so that the whole project, and it's beautifully guided by ISRO, it went up, it was launched. So can you imagine the kind of experience that it provided? And it's world-class education once you go through something like this. So can we spearhead these things? Can we become comfortable about an unsteady cash flow, which is not a salary? We will have our salary from the teaching job that we hold. But at the same time, can we think about an unsteady cash flow which will help us? Can we think about working round the clock, being obsessively involved in looking at it as a baby? And why do women make such great entrepreneurs compared to men? Because the nurturing ability is there innately in them. Business is your baby. So you are completely responsible for it. Therefore, you have total freedom to make decisions about it. So can we all, as part of this FTP, at least at the end of this by Friday, or take the Saturday and Sunday by Monday, have 100 business canvases. 100. I think Arun JS is coming to talk about business canvas, so that's the easiest thing to work out. So I would like to end by talking about one professor who actually made it big. His name is Gunther Fatlin, and he formulated this technique called lean entrepreneurship. Okay, and this is the answer to some of the many excuses that were given. Gunther Fatlin is German. He liked his tea, but tea comes only in very big bulk packets in Germany. It's imported from India. So he wanted something that will be providing a variety of flavors in much smaller quantities. He knew there was a market for this. He had no tea farms. The tea farms were all in India. He had no ships. He had no retail shops where he could put this. All he had was the idea to link all these things together. And he had no money to start with. So he comes to Darjeeling to pick the best tea possible, variety of teas. He signs up an agreement with them so that they'll send the money. He gets this 3-month window after which he'll make payment once the things have arrived. He sets up the brand in which it will be marketed. And he has this supermarket chains signing up for this. What he knew as a tea lover was that there were other people like him. So totally lean. There was nothing there that he was not amassing and trying to do all these parts. All of us have today around us so many consultants, so many vendors who are willing to provide all these services which we need not do ourselves, including reception service. Right? In Germany, there is one standard service provider which will act as the reception for so many companies. So when you call that number, they will pick up. They will have the information about whether you are in office or not. It's software driven. And they will respond as if it's your own personal secretary responding. And now with the advent of AI, all this can be automated again. So we have such an incredible opportunity. Michael Flynn, who is a very good friend, who just finished his another second master's, he had a company, Data Power, in which he had first had interns from Trinity do the data scrapping from the net. So this time when he came to Trinity earlier this year, he said, see, last business I started, I had to have a full team of website designers. I had blog makers, and all those things. Now it's just 2 days of him and an AI by which the website is up, the blog is up, the social media channels are up. It's just him and this incredible tool. So when all this is there, and we had the Art of Teaching contest as well, where teaching aids they made using artificial, we cannot shy away from technology. It will make rapid advancements. What we can do is make sure that we bring in our values, our own traditional ethic systems, which will make sure that the technological developments match the sustainable growth of our society. And that's very, very important. And that's the teaching that AI will not be able to do, about what matters, how much in life it matters, and what we can do about it. So with that, I will open up for any questions that you might have. I am both a successful entrepreneur and a failed entrepreneur. I have had so many mishaps along the way. Sometimes the team failed, sometimes the revenue failed, sometimes the idea itself wasn't all that great. But I also have successful enterprises, and I always make sure that I try to be involved whenever my friends want to get into a new enterprise, which will create jobs, which will create wealth, and which will provide a better life for many of the generations to come. So I think all of us will have that opportunity and the comfort of being a teacher and being so close to the next generation. It's such a joy to wake up every morning. We should be the first ones who should be entrepreneurs. And so many great successful models, including Trinity. But if you look at KLE Tech and Shettar sir, what he has done, 200 crores and up. If you look at what IIT Madras and Bombay are generating in terms of research funds and commercialization, and our own KTU, I'm sure, in the times to come, Digital University, where all this, like you mentioned, the APJ, Alex James is our own APJ at this time. The turnaround time can be so quick these days to get these things going. Sky is the limit. The only thing is, you know, we have the capacity now to sit in the comfort of our homes and interact with each other. When it is raining outside, we still have this clarity of communication, of coming together, sangachatvam, samvadatvam, that we can do online, wherever we are sitting. This is the time where we should use this opportunity for all the blessings that we have received to convert it to really, truly remarkable enterprises. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. I hope there are still people around. Brief idea about my failure and success experience as an entrepreneur. Okay. Uh, Three of my uncles as in people I knew from early childhood, who are all very successful in the banking sector. So after they retired, they wanted to start a company which will provide consulting and career guidance and things like that for bankers. So I was the youngest one who came in because my contribution there was mostly to provide the real estate in which this can happen. The failure was that they all had other engagements, and in retired life they all wanted to spend more time with their family. So this did not have the fire to make sure that it works. And sometimes people who are very experienced will think that marketing is beneath them. How can I go about asking people to come to this thing? Shouldn't they know that I'm here and come and so on? So that was something that we wound up very quickly without much hassle. Uh, the PhD thesis that I was doing in Texas A&M, it had a commercial potential, and the time with which we came to launch it was the time when Lehman Brothers collapsed and we had the financial meltdown of 2008. So it's very, very bad time to get into any kind of business. So that really suffered, not because the product was bad, not because people behind were bad, but because the circumstances at that time were not good. So these are two. Then okay, from I had a bunch of young generation people take up something. I had assumed that they would be highly enthusiastic, but then I think the way we went about setting it up, they were not very happy, or they had not thought that business will involve so much of hands-on, 24/7 working, at least in the setup phase. So it fizzled out over time. So that was another experience. And the good ones, we have a company, a cybersecurity company, which is with one of the best in the world. So that partnership worked out very nice. So, setting it up and taking it over was very nice, getting it forward, having different verticals of education built into it, proper service being provided, and then always being abreast with the latest technological advancements. That helps. I have seen the growth of Axia Technologies from very close. This is a very, very close friend. I'm a strategy advisor to that company. They have 600 employees now. Spectacular growth in the last 4 years. They work for the best companies in the world: BMW, Benz, Volvo, and so on. So that's one growth that I have seen very successfully. Similarly, Watson Solar with Terence, Alex, again, somebody whom I know very, very closely. And I was just sitting with him for a new business idea, and we were collaborating and trying to see how to set the processes so that there are no mistakes and then set the milestone so that the growth is good. So success, failures, I mean, there are no failures. You learn from those things. The business doesn't work out. Some of them will permanently remain in a difficult state because the circumstances are changing so fast and competitors are coming fast and good. So that those are personal experiences about. Yes, Vineet, you have raised your hand. Samira, what is the minimum investment you need? You tell us what is your business idea. Then we can tell you, I mean, you say what is the business idea and then how much money do you need? How can we say? Yes, Vineet, you had raised your hand.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I'm a postgraduate in economics. I'm a
Okay.
faculty of UKF College, Paripalli.
Okay.
Sir, actually, I just need to ask you, how can we groom the students to be a good entrepreneur while doing their BTech?
Yes, the answer is by being a good entrepreneur, so that they
Okay,
see because see in Vipin's case or Jimmy Sir's case,
sir.
I can go and lecture them about what Zuckerberg did or Steve Jobs did, but
Sir.
they know Jimmy Sir and Vipin Sir on campus. So they are seeing what these young guys are going through in setting up a business, how important a client meeting is for them, how they are juggling the funds and the vendors and so on. And when Vipin was there, the CNC machine and late night sessions that he used to run, that's the education that grooms
Sir.
them, right? Not any other kind of. There are no tips and tricks in this. You can bring guys to who are successful, who have managed to create enterprise, who are serial entrepreneurs, and talk to them. And those 1 hour sessions will help. But up close, they should be able to see how things are, so that they are very very realistic about these things when they come in, so that we can avoid the hard knocks,
Sir.
right?
Sir.
Usually it is that you need to have very very deep interest in it. It's not about taking your picture in front of a BMW. That's not the motivation. The motivation has to be people and planet and profit and so on. So you have to have that mindset about creating value much more than being known as a businessman or as an entrepreneur, and certainly not as an excuse for not sitting in class. Usually we have those mindset also that, oh, if you're not very good in studies, you might be good in business. But the more you grow in business, you really need a solid grounding in whatever it is the field that you are in, right? So
Sir.
tell them to focus on the class, then have very good business plan, build plan properly, and then do. Otherwise, it'll remain a plan. You start small level prototyping, small level running of companies, growth, and so on. You get better. Meet more businessmen.
Sir.
Are we going to start and do our business while in college? Yeah, why not? I think I'm sure whichever all the colleges are offering it. Government has asked them to provide mini industrial parks. Kerala Startup Mission, I know, has a wonderful policy of for if it's a government college teacher, 50,000 per month stipend or something for 2-3 years to go and try running a business, so that you'll have a steady salary while you're doing it. So yes, why not? You can ask your management to give you one less course, so that that time you will utilize. So Vipin started the company when he was in college. Jimson started. Vivek Stanley started. They were all in college when teaching. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So many new fields have opened up. Climate change is a big reality. We are experiencing all around ourselves. We need more solutions and products which can help people tackle it. Uh, Communication again, education wise, higher education is a big, huge sector internationally opened up. So there can be products and services along those lines. Whatever be your food technology, rapidly changing, biotech, biomed, IoT systems, electronics, embedded systems. Trivandrum now has massively big companies which are electronic equipment manufacturers. look for how your syllabus is mapped onto the industry. We have a November 5th. We have a CII conclave coming up where we are going to discuss this. We are also starting work on a handbook which will provide, at least for engineering colleges, which are the industries in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, which are actually doing the things based on the theory that the students learn in class. So such things, if you can have the practical side, it will help a lot. Economics, incidentally, Vineet, has become the fourth most sought after branch in IIT Bombay. So
Sir.
it's right up there competing with chemical engineering. People are opting more for economics because there is a huge potential of being an economist.
Sir.
Every company needs an economist.
Sir, actually, I just want to ask you, the students are least interested to be an entrepreneur. After their graduation, they just want to become, they need a government job or somehow they're preparing for bank test.
Vinith, I will only blame what is the model that they're seeing. Are teachers becoming entrepreneurs? If they
Sir.
should see if they see faculty becoming entrepreneurs, they will feel like becoming entrepreneurs. Right?
Okay, then only we can motivate them like that.
How you see, I can't be sleeping at till 8 a.m. in the morning and then put a post about how to wake up at 4 a.m.
Sir.
So, I mean, it's like Mahatma Gandhi's message, right? Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yes, sir.
Don't preach, don't
Sir.
teach, do.
Sir.
UKF is a great model because your management is engineers, right? The
Sir.
family is an engineering family.
Sir.
So, yeah, that motivation can directly students have more practically being encouraged. Yes.
Sir, one question in the chat box. Please answer it. It's a good question.
Yes. Can you go ahead? I didn't hear that, Rashid ji.
Sir, one question is there in the chat box.
Oh, okay. Let me.
Please answer it.
Which is that? Is it about are we going to start? I can only see three. One is are we going to start and do our business while in college, which I think I answered.
Oh, that's mine.
Then the minimum, yeah, and the minimum investment one also. I said, what is it that you want to start? Only based on that we will think about. I mean, you can arrive at the minimum investment that you need, no? Or it's a small tea shop business is very different from an electronic design business. So based on that, you can raise funds. Rashid, your question, I did talk about my failures and successes. I hope you heard.
Yes. What I am asking is that the last question is asked by Femila. I think the question is
So I said examples are Vipin Gopan sitting here.
is it possible to do entrepreneurship along with teaching?
Yes, which is what Vipin did, Jimmy sir did. All of them were doing that in Trinity.
How can that be implemented in a college setup?
Because we implemented that in Trinity, from 2012 onwards, where we encourage faculty to start. They are given space. They could use the facilities in college. The IEDC had cubicles where they could, set up their business. It could be given in the college address itself. And then the teaching load was reduced based on how much the business was growing.
Okay, clear. Okay.
I think Manorama carried an article also about Belladicha Udane sir company load to both sir. So
Okay.
So I hope all of you in the next 5 days from all the different sessions will start having ideas. I am available on LinkedIn. Please do connect. I'll just post my LinkedIn ID here. And anytime anything you want to ask, please do. If I can answer it, I will. Otherwise, I'll, like Anoopji said, do research and come back. I won't be irritated by questions. Anybody else? Thanks to those who already added. That's the speed of ease of doing business and speed of doing business. Vipin, can we wind up?
Just a minute.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Sri Lakshmi. Yes.
Sir, I'm not from a college. I'm a teacher of Kendriya Vidyalaya,
Okay.
and we have this Student Innovation Council in our school.
Yes.
And we do conduct sessions for motivating students and about entrepreneurship. And one challenge I always face is see, students in school means they will do things according to their parents' wish. They don't take decisions independently.
Yes.
So in our society, we the parents, they are still behind marks. So they are not ready to send their children to attend these sessions, not extending after school hours. So how is it possible for us to convince them?
Which KV are you from?
Sir, I'm from Adur, Kendriya Vidyalaya Adur.
Okay, I'm very, very sure that if you dig into your alumni list, you will find very, very successful business people, right? That's one way of showing the parents what good can come out of it. The second one, marks are important. There's no denying it. We are not going to say, okay, I mean, do whatever you want with exams. Marks are important. But these marks these parents are looking at are as a stepping stone for getting a job. Who is giving these jobs? Like from the government sector, we already know how reduced the intake is going to be. The jobs are coming from businesses which were all set up by a very, very small group of people in a very, very small way. So nowadays, people talk as if Infosys was created by God, or people talk about Technopark Trivandrum being always like this. It was a bunch of five people who got together in a very small office who envisioned this whole thing and created this thing. So, if there is a flair in students to have such enterprise, that's the first thing. Second, unless you can innovate, you will be outdated very, very quickly. So, it is not a subject for making you an entrepreneur. Innovation Council, whatever they are teaching, is a life skill, because we need, whatever job you go into, you will need to have a mindset and a habit of doing things in a better way, about innovating, because otherwise whatever it is that you do will become mechanized, especially with AI. So if all you know is how to write an exam, already AI is cracking most of the big exams. So how you can convince the parents? And it's not like parents are not understanding these things. They want safety and security. So which is where we can also go and talk about it. How safe and secure is a child who knows nothing about innovation, but who only know what has been in the syllabus, which is fairly historical now. Unless they have the ability to bring something new to the table, it will be very difficult to find and hold on to a job. Look what happened even in jobs which we thought will not need innovation. Trivandrum, I still find auto rickshaw drivers who have not started using smartphone, Uber and Rapido. And the kind of business that they do is so much less compared to the guys who have managed to switch into this technology. Right? It's hotels which are not on Zomato. How much revenue are they losing? Aryanivas in Trivandrum, opposite Kairali and Sri, still doesn't take GPay. And they have no idea how much business they are losing. It's not also a question of business losing. People feel something wrong with the culture of the business. Why do you still expect people to carry so much of currency in the pocket when such easily the payment can be made in a very secure way? So this mindset of innovation is very, very important for youngsters. That's the way I think you can pitch what the Innovation Council is trying to do, not as something opposed to what the subjects are being taught. In a very, very positive way, we can put it in. It's not loggerheads. No? It's the same thing where India traditionally we think playing is opposite of study, sports is opposite of study, and then we all admire Sachin Tendulkar, and we are all always watching cricket, and we are huge fans of all the sports that happens. And we then go for all kinds of physical fitness when we are at our older age. Why don't we understand that physical exercise and sports are essential part of life, where so much of positive psychology, life lessons are learned, resilience is learned. We look at the student suicides, right? The shocking number in Kerala. If you are fear of failure, somebody had mentioned, if you are a sports person, that fear goes away because you know you can come again tomorrow and play. You will lose. Yesterday we went for Combens. What a disaster, 4-1. But we'll go for the next match. So we learn these things. If you are always sitting in your room and studying and your only test is an exam and then you don't get 90 and your parents are disappointed, what's the psychology? What is the mental trauma that the student is supposed to go through? So we have to understand these mindsets are being cultivated so students can adapt to the way in which the world is changing. That's my take on this.
Thank you.
Sir, one doubt was there.
Yes.
Sir, actually, the doubt is like regarding the funding schemes. Like we know, like there are a lot of funding schemes available right now. Like
Yes.
small mudra loan. Many loans are like we are there. Like
Yes.
so, can you just mention at least one or two which are the best funding schemes which we can try or something?
Yes. If you go to grants.startupmission.in, right? I'll just post the address. And okay, here. If you just go to, this is a single window. So idea grant is up to 3 lakhs, productization grant is 7 lakhs, productization grant for women and transgender is up to 12 lakh, market acceleration is 10 lakhs, scale up grant is 15 lakhs, and R&D is where most of us are, academicians, is up to 30 lakhs. And this is only from Kerala Startup Mission alone. So imagine you go to Tamil Nadu startup, Hyderabad startup, and separate incubators provide these things. Government of India has a lot of grants. So once we start looking for, we'll find this. Bharati, are there any startup incubators for faculty? I don't know. I don't know if there is separately anything, but there are schemes. And, if we want to set up, I think that'll be a good idea that we can send back to Anoop to think about an incubator, at least a virtual incubator in terms of a network, digital one, which can bring in faculty spread across the colleges in Kerala who are interested in startup. I think it's a good idea. That can be one of the ideas that came out of this FPP.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you all for the kind appreciations that you are posting in the window.
Thank you for your time, sir. May I call upon Dr. Vipin Goban, Dean of Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, sir. So I'm Dr. Vipin Goban, Dean Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development. So my official role is to say vote of thanks, but before going into that, I would like to add few points. When Arun sir asked why many of you didn't start a business, I see a lot of comments like some say it is lack of knowledge, lack of fear, the lack of money and everything. I would like to highlight my point. I will quote myself as an example. When I joined Trinity back in 2012, obviously I didn't know that my aim was to enroll in a PhD and to complete my PhD as early as possible. After that, I need to focus on the research. I need to do the postdoctoral fellowship. My aim was on that side. Even at that time, in my wildest dreams, I didn't dreamed of starting a company or coming into entrepreneurship. Even if you look into my background, also my parents were government employees. Almost all the family members are government employees or bank employees. So I didn't have any background on business or anything. I didn't know anything about the financial management. But still, I started my company Kinesis Tech Solutions in 2017. And the turnover of that company is around 85 lakhs, and I achieved that number in around in a span of 4 or 5 years. Even my second company, Inclinus, that company has a turnover of annual turnover of around 50 lakhs right now. That may not be a huge number for many, but for me, it is a huge number because I didn't believe that I can start again. Even when I look back to 2012 or 2013, I didn't think that I can start a company. I can handle such a huge amount of money. I can manage this much of resources, everything. But still, I started my company. I'm proud to say that I'm a successful entrepreneur. So it is possible. Uh, of course, we need to put effort. We need to put a lot of effort. And some mentioned about the lack of time. That also I want to highlight because right now I am working as a Dean Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development in St. Thomas College of Engineering. Of course, in this position, there are a lot of responsibilities entrusted on me. I started a day in St. Thomas by around 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and I am the second, most cases, I am the second last to leave the campus by 6 or 6:30. Of course, the last being Dr. Ajit Busar. But even in this busy schedule, I'm finding time to do my business. Even when I look back in 2017, when I started my first company, Kinesis Tech Solution, at that time I was in the peak of my PhD. All my experimental works and my research paper writing was at that time. Even at that time, I was the HOD of Mechanical Department in Trinity College of Engineering. Even in this tight schedule, I managed to start my first company. I put a lot of effort. I put a lot of time for my Kinesis Tech Solution. Now the Puja holidays is approaching. Even I remember in 2017 Puja holidays during the first 2 days, I was in the Trinity campus. Even when the whole college is on vacation, I was in the Trinity campus from morning 8:30 or 9 o'clock to night 12 o'clock. I was in the campus because at that time I started my company and my first deadline, deadline for my first project is approaching. So I was in the campus even at that time also. So time management is possible, but we need to put some effort to manage our time also. So with this, I am going to my official role of giving vote of thanks. When we planned the schedule for this today's session, I said to Abida that I will say vote of thanks to Arun sir because in my entrepreneurial journey, he was the mentor. He is always my mentor. Even the name of my first company, Kinesis Tech Solution, that was suggested by Arun sir only. My second company was inaugurated by Arun sir only. So he's always my mentor. I learned a lot from him. Many of the contacts I gained through him, I got through him. It's very useful in my professional career. Even I was introduced to Ajit Prabhu sir through Arun sir only. Thank you, sir, on behalf of St. Thomas College of Engineering and Technology. I'm expressing my sincere gratitude for giving a fabulous session, for accepting our invitation and giving a fabulous session on entrepreneurship education. Thank you, sir. I hope all of you enjoyed the session, and that is clearly evident from the number of questions raised after the session. And hoping to meet you tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is on funding and financial management by Mr. Ajay Basil Varghese, Chartered Mentor. So thank you all, and hope to meet you tomorrow.